some really high-ranked players. If you haven't checked it out, he casts with Imba TV, and go check out Imba TV. They're doing a lot of show matches. They had a nice White Raw show match. I definitely check that out. It was cool. But back to you guys, man. The game loaded.
Well, Codes, why don't you take this one, man?
All right, here we go. Spawning on GSL Daybreak on the left-hand side of the map, we've got Fantasy. He is down one game. Played very well, though, very good, and just got to tighten up a few things. And I'd love to see him even up the series at a 1-1 in the top right-hand corner. Barely even needs a introduction, but we'll do it anyway. That's Team Complexity's QXC. His play has been impeccable all game. His macro has been right on key. He's very quick. And last game, even, losing some engagements, but recovered. And it seems like whenever he loses an army, there's always an army sitting at home ready to go. So I am excited to see where this game goes and to see what these kind of players pull out.
Oh, man, I can't wait to see what they're going to pull out. It's going to be very interesting. Right now, both of them opening up extremely mirrors, building the SCs at the exact same time. Same goes for the supply depots. And MLG Daybreak, man, I've actually seen quite a lot of TVTs on this map where the Naga Towers are and where the destructible debris are. That all gets destroyed. Obviously, the Naga Towers stay alive, but there's a massive line of siege things left and right scattered around this map. It's a brilliant map for any sort of matchup. TVT, TVZ, anything, man. Anything goes on this map. It's one of probably the best maps out there. It's one of my favorites for sure. And we're seeing the first deviation. QXC is going to get his gas, and that's something that, again, Fantasy doesn't do, man. Fantasy, he never gets into his gas. He always gets it relatively late.
Yeah, absolutely. You're spot on about that. He doesn't get his gas. He prefers to just mine those minerals, and we could see a quick expansion. Which way is this SCV going to go? Drops the supply depot. He's going to go right and not left, so he's actually choosing not to build a base down in that bottom corner. But, yeah, this game is going to be cool. Like you said, I love this map. The natural is easy to take, but that's kind of redundant. But the third is just kind of in a linear path right from the natural, so you can take your third as well. There's another expansion toward the watchtower with a rich Vespine, but a couple less mineral fields there. And as you were saying, yeah, these watchtowers, these destructible 2,000 HP rocks, this is where a lot of the map is really determined. Those watchtowers are huge because they're so close to each other, and vision is half the battle in TVT.
Oh yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you, man. And look at this. QXC again going for the same opener. Reapers. Reapers. Now, I'm not Mr. Bitter, but if you ask him what's his favorite Terran opener, he's going to say the Reaper Expand. And I also love Reapers a lot. And Reapers are such agile, fast, quick units, very fast-paced. But the problem is, on this map in particular, you can't really jump over this massive chasm. You have to go in here for this main base over here, and then you can jump into the base of Fantasy. But by the time you get to that place, the Marines will catch you out. So if you're this Reaper, you have to be, very sneaky. You have to be almost like a special agent, 007. You have to be extremely careful where you go, because those Marines, if they catch you out, you're as good as dead.
Absolutely. Fantasy almost completed his command, so it'll be done any moment. That's actually much quicker than QXC, but we see QXC getting out that Ghost Academy. He likes these Ghosts and these Reapers, man. I think it's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of the Reaper Expand as well. I think it's the most popular right now in Korea. They kind of started it, but hell, what don't they start? We see the Reapers actually using the ramp, which is kind of odd. They do have an ability that I think only 2 units in the game have, which they can just go up the side of cliffs. So don't really have to use that ramp there. It looks like they're going to go around. But Fantasy has already moved has a group of Marines ready at that other ramp. So very good foresight by Fantasy. QXC is not totally sure if he wants to dive in there right now. But there he goes, going to go for it, and picks off 1 Marine. So not bad, but choosing to run away there. The Orbital is on the way for QXC. So both these players look like they're going to play at least a little bit passively and go for a bit of a longer game. Doesn't look like Fantasy is going to try to do any sort of coin flips to get his first win in this series.
Yeah, coin flips are bad. I mean, you don't want to play too risky, especially in a TVT, because risks, normally in TVT, if you screw up, it never pays off. And I'm looking at this matchup right now, and sometimes when we see a really long macro-winded game number 1, game number 2 is sometimes is really short. And looking at it, I don't think it's going to be the case. I think we're going to have a really long game number 2 as well, where it's going to be very macro-oriented. But I'm not sure how Fantasy is going to pull it off, because I think in terms of macroing, I feel like QXC is just generally better than Fantasy. So Fantasy, he has to think about it, and he has to figure something out to be able to outwit QXC. Now, what will that be? I can't tell you right now, so let's see what QXC is going to do with those Reapers and Ghosts again, like game number 1. He was actually quite effective with them. The bunker is up for Fantasy, so he's looking pretty nice, and wow! He snipes a few of those Marines thanks to his scan, and that allows the Reapers to climb up there, maybe even snipe the Stickler. That would be a huge pickoff if he can snipe that. He will slow down the Impact upgrade, and he does it. And even when Reaper escapes, that was amazing by QXC. I totally love that.
That was absolutely worth it. Stopping that stim takes forever. That is an incredibly slow upgrade. And he not only has to research stim again, but he's got to build a tech lab that slows him down. So that was huge. Very good snipe by QXC. Scanned, killed the Marines, jumped up, saw the tech lab researching, executed his plan very, very well. And this is why QXC is so popular. This is why he's a grandmaster player. Now, their stims are almost even, whereas Fantasy would have been way ahead there. Both getting +1 weapons right now, almost at the exact same time. But Fantasy is actually getting out that +1 armor. And QXC not quite going for that armor yet.
Yeah, he's not, and that's actually quite an important upgrade, especially in the mirror match. Armor is as important as attack, pretty much. I mean, you don't want your units to take more damage than your opponent, and I guess QXC will be able to catch up on that aspect, because he has Ghost, and with that snipe ability, he can just snipe the Marines very quickly. But we have to find out in the engagement. Right now, the engineering bay, both engineering base Fantasy researching those core upgrades that we were just talking about, doing a nice, damn fine job of it. Also, the command set for Fantasy is coming along nicely. He's going to look to expand to his third. And I think the same thing goes for QXC. Actually, he hasn't been throwing down a command center. Well, now he has, just now. And both players will be taking their thirds relatively soon. And again, it's a very passive game. The only aggression we saw was from QXC with those Reapers and that Ghost. But after he did that little assault mission, it looks like he's now calmed down, and he hasn't done anything else since that.
Yeah, both players just kind of sitting back on their heels, macroing up, growing, and getting stronger and stronger and stronger until they feel like they can really commit to this. The Reaper's days are numbered. He's about to get popped, only needs 2 shots, and there we go. He's now dead, taking that watchtower. Now, I'm really excited to see where this game goes. Both players getting out another command center. Fantasy's already turning his into an orbital, so excited to see this game go to 3 bases. And am I right about that? Yeah, we got the orbital command coming for Fantasy. Just couldn't find it on the map right there. Missile turrets going down. So both these players pretty much going for the exact same setup as last.
Yeah, it looks that way. And right now we're seeing that Fantasy, he's actually doing a really nice job at pumping out some medivacs right now on the field. He actually had a lot of medivacs out in the last game, which was really surprising. He had a ton of medivacs, but that didn't really pay off for him enough. The Marines didn't survive well enough in the economy. He wasn't able to survive. Here comes the engagement of nice snipes, taking down all of those Marines. We're looking right now. QXC is actually going to win the engagement because he killed all those Marines really quickly. He didn't even use tanks. I mean, I think he actually might have had 1 or 2 tanks at most. But he's still going to win the engagement with 1 Ghost and 1 Marine surviving. QXC pulling off an amazing engagement, and now he's ahead. And at the same time, he spots the third base for Fantasy. He sees it. Yes, the Marine will die, but this is given a great opportunity for QXC to make a small army and take it to that third and take it out. And that's something that he's really good at. And Fantasy needs to keep a clear eye on that base because it will get attacked at some point.
QXC is way ahead in food right now, and I'm really wondering what QXC is going to do once the huge Ghost nerf comes down. Really going to kill Snipe, and he loves Snipe, and we saw him using it against Zerg. He used it against Terran as well. So QXC's playstyle might be in a little bit of trouble. He's going to have to adapt there, and they're nerfing exactly what he loves to do most. Moving up kind of towards the third base, although QXC just taking it slow, not rushing into anywhere too quickly. Like I said, it's 105 to 121 food right now, although Fantasy Man, he's doing well in the upgrade department. He's about to finish 2-2.
Oh, look at this massive stim by QXC. He's going in there, he's going to try to snipe this orbital command. Is getting mass repaired. Will that be good enough? It looks like he will get mass repaired successfully. The tank for QC wasn't even sieged up. He picks up the injured tank. Great micro by him with his Medidex. The tank sieges up. It's doing a ton of damage. But right now, that's not enough to snipe this orbital command because of the mass repairs. Great job by Fantasy for keeping that alive, but QXC still has a great supply lead. And being so aggressive, he managed to snipe a lot of SCVs. Looking at it, right now, QXC has killed 12 SCVs. That's 12 workers killed. Fantasy has killed 0, and that's a massive advantage right there for QXC.
That is a massive advantage. We see the ghost at the, or sorry, not the ghost, the gas rather for Fantasy at the third base is going to burn to pieces down to 10 HP. And yeah, it actually burns to the ground. And now I love that micro by QXC picking up that tank and then dropping it again. How cool is that? Like that was awesome. I love seeing that. He just allowed that tank to live a little bit longer, and that's exactly the kind of advantages you need to squeak out in this matchup.
Yeah, in the mirror matchup, any small advantage counts. QXC now engaging with a small pack of Marines and a Ghost, realizing that it's not the best idea, pulls back, loses the Ghost, and right now QXC, he can attack from double fronts, but I don't think that's a good idea. He needs to get his units together. That's exactly what he's going to do. And looking at it, I think the siege up position for Fantasy means that he wants to take this half expansion over here. Now, I call it a half expansion because it only has one Vespene Geyser. Well, it is a rich Vespene Geyser, but still, it's only one. And it has a mineral field which has less mineral fields than a normal expansion does. So that's why it's a half expansion. Right now, QXC is way ahead in supply. He's going to try to snipe the same orbital command. He even gets another command center canceled. He's actually going to do a nice job at cleaning the SCV line over there. Looking at it, Fantasy trying to attack from behind. Fantasy, it looks like he's going to clean this up. But QXC, he doesn't care, man, because he's still way ahead of supply. 60 supply ahead. And look at this massive armor that he already has by the Naga Tower.
Yeah, man, he macros like a boss. That's the thing I was saying before the game. Seems like he runs in, he fights like, oh, okay, well, QXC, you know, kind of lost his army there, but pretty good trade. Holy shit, he has a whole nother army. That seems to be a huge trend in all of QXC's game. He's landing his fourth base right now, and it looks like they're setting up for an attack. Fantasy stimming, running in here, but QXC saying, you know what, this isn't my fight. I'm not going to take this one. I'm going to just kind of fend you off and back up here. So QXC making good decisions and not taking a fight unless he really wants to. I'm pretty sure he knows he's ahead in this game. He is ahead by about 40 supply. And both these players playing fantastically. We see Fantasy almost finished his level 3 weapons and just starting his level 3 armor for infantry, whereas Terran infantry armor for QXC is just done now, and his weapons are sitting on 2 and hasn't started 3 yet, so the upgrade advantage will actually be in Fantasy's hands.
I kind of feel like game 1 was a lot more balanced. Like this game number 2, it seems like QXC has had the advantage the entire game. He's always ahead of supply. He gets these great engagements down, and he's always macroing up so much better than Fantasy. Right now he's getting a nice engagement, but Fantasy managed to siege up first, and that allowed him an advantage of his own. Looking at it, QXC expanded once again, and QXC, he hates this for a base, man. He wants to take it out. He wants to take it out fast. Will it get repaired on time this time? Yeah, it's going to get repaired again, which means actually it's going to get lifted, and so many SCVs are going to die once again. QXC is going to try to snipe as many as he can, and Fantasy is going to let him do that. Fantasy can't do anything because of the nice siege positioning that QXC has right now. Looking at it, 54 SCVs have been killed, and you know how many SCVs QXC has lost? 0.
Yeah, man, like you said, 0. You know, that's really a problem right now. Command Center still floating up there, forcing him out of there. The main for Fantasy is almost mined out. There's actually a couple thousand minerals actually sitting there, not too many. The natural is kind of in the same position. Some mineral patches there, but getting a little weak. Actually, more minerals than I would originally have thought. Now, QXC is maxed out, so he's starting to pump out those upgrades, dropping command centers, building turrets, and he's actually going to finish level 2 weapons for those tanks, allowing them to do 60 damage while they are in siege mode. So that is pretty good. I'd love to see him actually get all the way up to level 3, but instead it looks like, oh, there's a drop that I was missing in the third of QXC. forces out the SCVs, and looks like they're going to try to target the command center, but it will be cleaned up, and the medevac looks like it was already cleaned up by those turrets.
See, I like that. I like that play, Fancy. I think he needs